Hi, this is Erin Poirier. I'm the Love4Gambia endurance runner. I'm a nurse and a runner, and this is a little bit of my Love4Gambia story. So if you're joining in for the first time, I'm going to tell you my story in about 15 seconds. So I love to run, and I love the continent of Africa, and I spent 2 of my summers as a nurse volunteering in Africa. The last time was in the Gambia with the Nova Scotia Gambia Association in 2007, and since I returned home from the Gambia, I've been involved with the NSGA as a board member. I just kind of helped my heart and my hands stay in the work of Africa. The last 3 years for the NSGA have been rather difficult financial years. We've had trouble balancing our books and making ends meet, and this year was looking like it was going to be our most difficult year of all in the fall. And for me, it was pretty scary thinking about what was going to happen if we weren't able to raise the amount of funds that we needed to raise. And one of the possibilities was that the organization would not be able to continue to exist the way it does right now. So I was thinking that I wanted to do something to help raise the money that we needed to raise to avoid having a financial shortfall yet again, and was thinking about, I'm lucky to be a good runner, and the distance of the Gambia popped into my mind as a distance that probably would be runnable. The Gambia is the smallest country on the continent of Africa, so it would be easier to run across the Gambia than it would be to run across the country of Canada. So without knowing exactly how long the distance was, I decided that this is what I was going to do, and I set out to do it. I've since learned that it's 430 kilometers, and my goal is to run that in 20 days. 17 days will be running days at about 25K a day, and 3 days will be rest days. So here we are in June. It's the last day of June, June 30th. This training cycle and decision started for me in November, so it's been quite a ride. Training and preparing started mid-November for me, so this has been a 7-month training cycle. So I'm more than prepared to take on this challenge. As a runner, most of my training since November has been on a 6-day-a-week schedule. I train in Halifax with a track club called Cliff's Antiques, which is headed up by Coach Cliff Matthews, who's the kindest, most caring and competent coach, my opinion, in all of Canada. So I'm lucky to have him. So Cliff sets up my training, he tells me what to do, and I go out and do it. So I train with him on Tuesdays and Thursdays. My running partner is named Mike, and we run together on those Tuesdays and Thursdays. And we're also surrounded by a supportive crew, members of our club. So Norma, Tanya, Robin, the guys, Gord, Nadia. Those are people that I haven't actually been running all my workouts with, but they're at the track when I'm there, and they've been supporting me while they're doing their own work at the track. So thanks to those guys. My training for my 6 days a week, 2 days with Cliff, a couple of easy running days, and then a long run on the weekends. So my long run has been around 25 kilometers, more leading into Boston Marathon. And I've got excellent long run partners that I give a shout out to. Those are Mickham and Liam and sometimes Shauna. So the work for a long run, it's a long run. So it's great to have company and their support through that. I've done a number of races leading up to this point as part of my training. So 3 winter tune-ups, races where you kind of test your fitness. I was really happy to win one of those races in Charlottetown, which was fun for me because it's my home course. I ran my 3rd Boston Marathon in April, and that day didn't quite go as planned for me. I was in really good shape and just couldn't pull it off fitness-wise to hit the time goal I wanted to hit. Kind of from the gun, I just didn't want to run that day, but was able to turn it around halfway through the race. And of my 3 Bostons, it was my most fun Boston. I also ran the Blue Notes 10K as part of Team Love4Gambia, which was my biggest fundraiser, and that was a really fun day for me. I got to high-five my youngest sister Kristen out on the course, as well as a lot of other Love4Gambia teammates, so that was a super day. And my last race of this training cycle was the Cabotril Relay, which is the race where I finally was able to pull off a well-executed and fast race. Through my training, I need to give a big thanks to Jason Gray, who is a chiropractor that has been working with me as part of my Love4Gambia campaign for free. So I've been seeing him every 2 weeks, and he has been tuning up my legs, which has kept me healthy and on the roads, and has made sure I, up until now, haven't missed any days of running for injury. So Jason's been fantastic, and he's given me a freedom to train hard and work hard. So this training cycle, I knew that I could push my body hard, and that if I inflicted any damage to myself, Jason would fix it every 2 weeks when I went and saw him in his office. So he's been a huge help to me, as have my training partners, and as has my coach Cliff Matthews. This has been a fundraising campaign. So I started doing this intending that I was going to raise a lot of money for children and youth and communities in the Gambia. So at times it's been difficult, challenging, kind of managing my time. So there've been a lot of late nights, and there needs to be a lot of early mornings too, because I can't focus just on the fundraising. I needed to run too. The running is the fundraising. My biggest fundraiser was my Blue Nose Marathon charity team. So to the 92 people who ran for Team Love4Gambia and raised a whopping $24,000, I really don't know what to say, except I love each and every one of you for the fantastic thing that you've done for kids and youth in the Gambia. So at this point, in our fundraising campaign, we're at about $30,000. I'd really love to hit $32,000. So here we are in June, and Ashley and I are leaving for the Gambia in 3 days. We leave on Sunday. Right now I'm excited and I'm nervous and I'm anxious and I'm happy, and I'm so much of those 4 emotions that I can't even tell which emotion is which anymore. I'm really excited about the support team that I've got in the Gambia with me. So Ashley's going to be with me. She's my friend. She's an emergency room nurse. We traveled and worked in the Gambia before. This is going to be hard. This is probably going to be the biggest challenge of my life, and I'm going to be relying a lot on Ashley to help me hold it together. So this is going to be hard, not only for my legs and my feet, but I know that there's going to be some times where it's really hard mentally and where I'm not going to feel like continuing, and Ashley's going to make sure I don't give up. The other 2 people who are going to be joining us are both from our Gambia office. They're Keba Suso, who is our driver. He's an awesome, super fun-loving, bright guy, and is also a runner, so I'm really lucky for that. Keba's been training since November to join me for parts of my run every day, so I know that I won't be running by myself all day, every day. I'm going to have Keba out there to help me, which is fantastic. And the other guy who's going to be joining us is Pa Modusar, and Pa has a big job. He's our logistics guy, so he's in charge of where we're sleeping at night. He's in charge of where my huge quantities of food are coming from, and he's in charge of where my even huger quantities of bottled water are coming from. So Pa's really important. He's also a footballer. He's a soccer player and an athlete. And I'm going to be running my runs every day in 2 runs, a 20K followed by a 5K 2 hours later. And Pa Modi's going to run that 5K with me every day, which is going to be a tremendous help. I've done that in training a couple of times. And while the 5K, like physically, it's not that hard. It's only 5K, but mostly my brain doesn't want to start running again. It would rather lie down. So it's going to be great to have Pa help me get out the door. Given where I'm at right now and what's happened over the last week, I'm excited for my support team because I think I'm going to need them more than I had kind of planned on needing them. So today's Thursday, and I haven't run in 7 days. I haven't run since last Thursday because I am injured. I'm not really sure how or why this happened, but I do have a groin injury that popped up last Thursday. Prior to that, like the week before the injury happened, I had this week where I was just really tired of running and didn't want to do it anymore, and it was raining and I just couldn't make my feet take me out the door and do it. So I had been running about 70 kilometers a week in the month of June. That week I only ran 50 kilometers. So maybe coming off that low mileage week, my body wasn't ready to do the fast workout that Cliff had planned for me when I showed up on Tuesday. We were running mile repeats, and I only did 3 of them. Everyone else did 5. Cliff's been trying to protect me and make sure I do less work so I stay healthy, and the mile repeats felt fine. The next day I got up and ran 35 minutes, super easy for recovery. Usually I've been running 10K for recovery, so 35 minutes was less. Felt okay. When I got home, everything was hurting, and it was my groin that continued to hurt after that. So I saw Jason, my chiropractor, the next day, Thursday morning, and he looked at it and he said, like, he wasn't like holy shit bad or anything, but it was tighter than normal than it had been. So he worked on it a bit, and I went to practice that Thursday. And when Mike and I started running in our warm-up, I actually was really surprised that my groin was hurting and it was so tight. So I thought I would just run the warm-up and then make a decision about whether I was going to continue or not. And before we hit even the first kilometer, the pain in my groin had gone away, so I thought I was fine. I did kind of a modified baby workout. I did half the work everyone else did, and I was running with Norma and Rob, and they're not people I usually run with. I usually run at my own pace, which is a little quicker, so like not a strenuous workout. And when I got home that night, my groin was hurting, and it's hurt since, and I haven't run since. So I'm getting really great care for my groin. I saw Jason the next day on Friday, and Ashley and I were going to see my physio, David Catchin, for a crash physiotherapy course anyway on Sunday. So he looked at it and worked on it a little bit and said, like, basically it's injured and you can't run, Erin, until I tell you that you can. So I've continued to get good care. I know that it's going to heal. I've accepted that I can't run again until I arrive in the Gambia, which will make 2 full weeks of no running. Lots of time to heal. And I know that I'm going to be fine, that I'm not going to lose any fitness in that 2-week layoff. But to be quite honest, I've been a bit of a mess all week, and this is not really how I planned on spending my last week before going to the Gambia. I've been open about my injury, mostly because I felt really bad for myself when it first happened, and my friends and contacts, like really caring people, have been saying things to me because they want to make me feel better. They've been saying things like, oh, your body just needs a break, this is okay. But you know, you got to remember that my body is used to running 6 days a week, and that's what it wants to do, not wanting to take a break. A couple other people said, like, oh, I'm injured too, I know how you feel, and like, not to their face, in their head have been like, oh, well, unless you're running across the country in Africa, you actually have no idea how I feel. So anyway, I know these people are just trying to be nice, and I've been trying not to subject them to the craziness that's going on in my head. And I think I've been doing an okay job at that. Monday this week was a pretty bad day for me. On Sunday, David had done a tape job to try to relieve some of the stress on my injured groin muscle, and was intended to recruit some other muscles to kind of pick up the slack so the groin muscle could rest. But there was a muscle group that didn't want to pick up the slack, I guess, and it was hurting too. It was hurting every time I stood up, every time I sat down. I went home from work early that day to ice my injury, and I did cry a little bit because it's just scary thinking about starting in the Gambia after having not run for 2 whole weeks. The last time I didn't run for 2 weeks was when my husband and I went on a honeymoon, and we did that on purpose. I've had some other obstacles this training cycle. I got hit by a car in December while I was running, and I only missed 5 days of running for that. And this time it's going to be 2 weeks. But anyway, I know that it's going to be fine. I've got the best people possible working on it. And I'm just so grateful for David Catchin, physio, who's just so calm. And when I saw him last, he was like, okay, you need to look me in the eye and listen to me when I tell you that this is going to be fine and it's going to heal. So I know it's going to heal. Some wise running quote person once said that pain is inevitable and suffering is optional. And I know that's true. Like, I'm going to hurt at points during this 17-day run, and I've just been really worried about what if my groin hurts every single one of those days and I suffer through the whole thing. But it's been 7 days now today, and I feel a little bit better, and I now believe that it's going to heal and it's not going to plague me for this entire run. So anyway, Ashley and I leave in 3 days. I've got a lot of packing left to do, and just want you all at home to know that for this Love for Gambia campaign, I'm doing the hard work. I'm running across the country of the Gambia, but you can all help me. And you can help me by donating money. So any amount will help us reach our goal of $32,000, and every dollar that you donate is going to make my work running easier. So thank you, and I will talk to you again from the road in Gambia.